Hi everyone. Oh, caught some good lightning. It's Mike Levin on Friday, May 27th, 2022. A day that shall live in infamy. So I left myself so much margin, and it's 5:12 p.m. and I'm supposed to pick my kid up at 5:30 p.m. as of my own desire and prompting, so that I could have an hour margin getting them over to the 6:30 apartment signing on the lease, with the intention of letting my kid look at the space, review it, and have everyone sort of hanging on their approval as to whether I should go ahead and sign or not. I'm going to infuse the power into my kid. And you know, I was talking to the broker, and they were like, oh, you just come to any local Chase and get the checks. And I'm like, look, we're talking at 2:30. You do the math. I'm 2 hours away, 3:30, 4:30. It's a half-hour window. There's rain, there's traffic, it's a holiday weekend. Do you think I'm actually going to get to a Chase and be able to get these many checks cut and, you know, get out of there and in time to... And you know, I said I'll keep my own counsel, thank you very much, in addition to the counsel of my lawyer, who's reviewing the lease, I believe, maybe, kind of. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But I didn't give them an awful lot of notice because of the way they're putting the screws to me to make this all happen so fast. So I stopped at a Chase that was on the way, on the Jersey side, not far from Pennsylvania, and I got all the checks I needed cut. And I got in the car very satisfied with myself with how much margin I still had. I had the checks out of the way. Now I only have to deal with traffic and weather and the chance of accidents. So only three things happened. Traffic, weather, and the traffic is because of an accident. I saw the, you know, police cars and stuff zooming past. So, you know, I'm inching towards the Elizabeth exit. That's 2 miles off. It's 5:14 p.m. And then I'll be inching towards the Staten Island exit, which is the one after that. Another mile or so off. So there's no way I'm getting there in 15 minutes. However, I left myself an hour margin between picking up the kid and where I need to be for the lease signing at 6:30. So go me, yeah! And this is my second ding. The first ding was traffic again. I mean, it wasn't so bad, but it was on Pennsylvania side in a way that almost never occurs, but it is holiday weekend. So I don't even know if I can count these as dings, right? Because I left so much margin that these are the expected dings to cut into the margin. But if you do count them, I'm up to 2, and there's a third one still to come down, and I have between now and like pen on paper for things to go wrong. So I am on high alert. And I'm now recording on my iPhone. My last video was on my Note 8 from circa, I don't know, 5 years ago. And with the exception of it cutting off after an hour of shooting video, perhaps because of file system issues, I'm not exactly sure. With the exception of it cutting it off after an hour, it's a profoundly modern phone for 5 years old. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again, that the Note 8 is Samsung flexing its muscles, sparing no expense to keep that line alive, because the Note 7s would explode because of a lithium battery thing. And so the Note 8 is some kind of, you know, Herculean demonstration by Samsung that even that can't knock out such a beloved line, because those styluses on the Note make it on another order. It is a Wacom tablet in your pocket. It is another piece of hardware that I never thought I would love as much as I do. And I had a number of Notes leading up to it. A friend at 360i, a marketing firm I worked for, that I'm mentioning a lot lately, it got into my psyche. So things that I never thought I would love as much as I do worm their way in. After Commodore and after the Amiga computer in particular, I thought I was going to have my heart broken by tech for the rest of eternity. That nothing would be, the 30 years ahead of its time, nearly alien tech inspired from places unknown that the Amiga was. And for the most part, I've been correct in that presumption. However, a handful of things have surprised me, and the Note 8 is among them. This piece of magic right here. Let me take off the case for it, because I'm not driving real fast, right? I'm inching along. Look at that design. It's better with the screensaver off. That'll be off in a moment. But look at that. Look at those lines on that thing. This is the perfect, unopinionated, rectangular obelisk. Right down to how they position the camera and the finger sensor on the back. Let's get some feedback loop going there, right? Righteous feedback loops I talk about. Righteous feedback loops with a righteous product. The Note 8 is something special. And I actually considered tethering it, not tethering it, but hotspot connecting it to my iPhone to do the YouTube upload of the video I just shot, because I was using my iPhone for navigation from the strange path I was taking from this chase I never went to in Jersey. So the two phones came in real handy. I shot my video. I felt compelled to talk. That's one of my better videos. I'm very proud of that. If you're following along with me, view me as one of these serials. How much time do you spend on reality TV that has no redeeming quality? Spend the time on me. I'm going to teach you how to be a modern samurai of information technology. Okay, so let me break it down for you, Barney style. Breaking it down Barney style is a reference of the Expeditionary Force sci-fi series with Skippy, the artificial intelligence, who you should all get to know, because Skippy is Kelsey Grammer. It's an AI who runs into, the equivalent of the Cockney of New England. So Joe Bishop is just a working class New Englander who runs into an AI that he finds in a warehouse that nobody knows what it is. It's from ancient alien elder technology. And so the AI, who kind of lured Joe Bishop there in the first place because he couldn't communicate with or team up with any spacefaring species, and Earth was recently made available to another spacefaring species, the evil lizard type people. And the evil lizard type people didn't know what they had in either the Earth and those monkeys, or in the elder tech that they had excavated. And so the elder AI manipulated things so that this New Englander, you'd call them white trash, it's a terrible term, but Joe Bishop is, was in the military, right? Because the choices of people in those positions to better yourself, you join the military and you prolong the, separation of the aristocracy with the lower class, right? It's in England, it's in New England, right? So this AI sensing all this, and they don't spell any of this out in the sci-fi series. They just assume that the reader is intelligent enough to pick off on these subtleties. The AI assumes the accent of Kelsey Grammer, who's a highfalutin aristocracy beantown, which is a reference to Boston, psychologist, psychiatrist, or whatever. So full of themselves and stuff, right? So Joe Bishop, in a very, condescending, put him down way, when the AI was describing to him in the Kelsey Grammer voice, how he was an all-powerful being and should be referred to as something like God, Joe Bishop is like, I'm going to call you Skippy. And Skippy stuck. And because of this relationship, it's a buddy story. It's a buddy sci-fi series. Because of this relationship, the AI has respect for almost no one it encounters more than Joe Bishop, who continues to be like, yeah, despite all your superpower mental abilities, you just lack basic sense. And it's true. Joe Bishop's way of thinking continues to surprise and help the super powerful AI, who is dependent on such creatures because they were built by the elders with all these checks and balances against their power so that their own AIs wouldn't take over the show. So, Joe Bishop's claim to fame before running into Skippy was capturing an alien spaceship all on his own. And he did it with an ice cream truck that had Barney drawn on the side of it. So the joke goes, we'll break it down for you Barney style. Barney the dinosaur, that is. Doop, 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 doop. And so I'm breaking it down for you Barney style. That was a big sub-story to get into this. I don't even know what I was talking to you about, that I was going to break down Barney style. I'm really happy with that last video. Really happy with the Note 8. A lot of technology is surprising. I was spoiled by the Amiga. Everything since has been somewhat of a disappointment, but things are coming around again, and I'm finding the love-worthy bits in lots of things. And in doing so, it really has come down to letting go of a lot of anger. There's definitely letting go of anger. Blaming the people who, sacrificed the future of the Amiga computer on the altar of keeping compatibility with the Amiga's past. That's what it was all about, to keep Deluxe Paint running. The Amiga 1000 could never become the Amiga 10,000. It always had to become the Amiga 500 and 2000. And all these little tweaks of these little tweakers. And I got angry at these tweakers because, I wanted the alien technology, powerful forward progress of humankind to keep going to hell with compatibility with, Defender of the Crown. And that kind of stuff gets under your skin when you're young and you're passionate and you haven't seen enough of life to know that, A's hire A's and B's hire C's. The question at hand is who let in the bees? The bees will take over, they're killers, you see. I shout the A's. We can't let it be, but the damage is done because the bees have a hive. All's left is to run while the place takes a dive. Bees win in the end, as every A sees. At root of the problem, some A's let in B's. So A's let in B's because A's are scared that hiring other A's will displace them, make them look bad, they'll have their job in a year, da-da-da-da-da-da. So people who have the talent of an A employee perpetually hire B's for control reasons and lack of confidence and lack of security reasons. So the real way to hire people, and I knew this back then, I wrote this poem back then. That was, I tell you about the poems I write, it strikes me. One of the poems I wrote when 1990 became 91 and it was clear, the writing on the wall, there was never going to be a future Amiga. We were lucky if it got to, high color. If it got from 16 color high res, which was 640 by 400 resolution in those days, to, 24-bit, millions of colors, much less, 4096 colors, which the Amiga already had in low res. So, the Amiga was struggling to get to be able to do photorealistic in high res after, it came out in 1985, that's 86, 87, 88, 89, 90. In 91 or 92, I think it was 92, 6 years later, the Amiga went from 16 colors in high res to 4096 colors in high res. I don't think you could even do 24-bit at that time. People might correct me, but it was still running in bitplane mode with non-retargetable graphics. 6 years, over a half decade. And that was the time during which the PC completely leapfrogged the Amiga on almost every front. And I had to begrudgingly move to the PC, and it leapfrogged the Amiga on almost every front accept the elegance of the overall system. So I moved to the Amiga. I moved from the Amiga to the PC. My employer at the time, Scala Multimedia, later Scala Digital Signage, also moved from the Amiga to the PC. New operating systems were invented to be sub-operating systems so Scala could run the way it ran on the Amiga, MMOS. And then that became the biggest liability, because to get off of MMOS, because just normal PC resources became powerful enough, that was, so, everything is a two-edged sword. And all love-worthy things are destined to, expire, like food on a shelf. Ugh, isn't that sad? So, am I destined to expire like food on a shelf? People have certainly told me as much. Mike, you're never gonna make it. Look at your age. If you haven't made it by now, you're never gonna make it. Wait, what? From someone who's supposed to be my support system? Really? How long have you felt that way? Have you felt that way through all these years where, I didn't have the support I needed to go from my move to New York, to creating a Web 2.0 app, to putting the love into it, to advance and do the next thing, and to climb on this hierarchy? Instead, my focus and allocation of resources changed in ways that were surprising to me. All my choice, but anger again. Ultimately, everything you do is your choice, and it is made exceedingly clear to you. Even though there are outside, influences that help you towards those choices, that encourage you, that give you strong reasons, that can make you believe anything, it's still your choices and it's still your fault. So when you go down a path you did not fully appreciate the ramifications of, it's still your fault. You have no one but yourself to be angry at. So these are the realizations I came to, over a duration of 15 years after having moved to New York City. Having a kid who is now 11 years old, and doing right by them. Number one, doing right by them. Breaking it down Barney style, do right by your kid. You brought him into this world. The only decision in regard to someone's life that is not their own is being brought into this world. And perhaps even if we are antennas for spirits from places unknown, perhaps that spirit chooses to enter the hardware based on that 23andMe spin of the 22 genes plus the XY chromosome to determine sex, right? To determine the hardware. There's no such thing as gender. Oh, really? Now I'll get some hate. Of course there's such a thing as, well, what is it? It's definitions. Labels are stupid. The English language is stupid. I was talking about the language of aristocracy versus the working class, and how the AI chose Chelsea Grammer and Fraser's voice talk about working class versus aristocracy. Kramer's working class and Fraser is aristocracy. So the AI chose the voice of an aristocracy to talk to Joe Bishop, truly, gritty, guy who had to join the military to better his path in life. And that's everywhere. That's encoded into our language. Listen to Michael Caine, who is very Cockney British in nature, and I talk about my admiration of the British. Well, the very same place that creates all these things that I admire, like inventing computers, Alan Turing, also chemically castrate Alan Turing, because they're worried that his gayness is going to make, state secrets slip. And in fact, they chemically castrate him. He commits suicide using chemicals he experiments with and had easy access to. Did he accidentally kill himself, or did he, kill himself on purpose? We may never know, but it was certainly easy for him to do it, and he had the motivation because he was institutionally, governmentally, chemically castrated. so that he wouldn't have his gay sexual urges, so that he would stop going to bars and, cavorting with people who could be spies. Oh my God. How could fiction be stranger than life? Life is stranger than fiction. World War II, everything having to do with World War II, the code-breaking stuff and the atomic bomb and the, personalities who represented the worldviews, everything is bigger than life. Winston Churchill, FDR, Frank Delano Roosevelt, Hitler. Can I say that? Oh boy, I'm demonetized now. Demonized, demonetized, demonized, something like that. So, it was bigger than life, bigger than comic books, right? So I got into comic books for a while, and there was a point where I was like, the stuff I'm hearing about real history, hardcore history, from Dan Carlin is so much more interesting than comic book stuff. I was there for Thanos first getting his Infinity Rings in the comic book series. I was there for the stuff that motivated the modern Marvel comic cinematic universe. I'm kind of bored by it. The special effects are great, but I feel a bit like Martin Scorsese. It was good in the comic books. It's just a neat trick to do it. It's kind of like a magic trick to do it today with computer graphics and, A-list actors. Neat, fun to watch, but really a little bit boring, and I can take and leave most Marvel movies. I wait for them to stream. I don't pay the premium, and now I can't even wait for them to stream because I'm giving up all my streaming services. I'm going to keep whatever is really a must-have for my kid, and it turns out Funimation, which I had because they had My Hero Academia, my MHA. They had MHA sooner than Crunchyroll. But Crunchyroll has now bought and absorbed Funimation. So Funimation seems to be turned off now. So I'll probably be getting Crunchyroll probably this weekend with my kid. And just keep the streaming services that they consider most important. There might be a phone call coming in because it's now past 5:30 and I'm not actually there. And I'll be wrapping up the video soon because this was another good ramble. After that 1 hour video I'm going to be uploading, I'm going to be uploading this one. So if you follow me and you think this is valuable and you think this is better than those other schlocks on YouTube, I mean, God bless them. The Beast? How much do you have to bribe for a 1 million view video, right? Can I get a 1 million view video without having to spend money and give away gifts and do, ridiculous hyperbole? I'd still do ridiculous hyperbole, guilty as charged, just projecting. I'm jealous as F of these people. But I'm the genuine article, I'm the real deal, working my way through life. And I guess the point I want to make is it's the resiliency. If you want to talk about any good channeling from, say, Marvel, look at Stan Lee. Listen to Stan Lee talk about his various characters. Listen to him talk about Spider-Man and the good decisions they made. Listen to him talk about the Hulk. So what I am is I'm the Incredible Hulk. Green. I'm a blue, soft inner soul. I'm Bruce Banner, David Banner, something Banner. So I'm the Banner Blue. I'm Blue Banner. Soft and sciency and soft-spoken, mild-mannered and all that. But I gotta dress up green because I gotta be green. Abba-dee-abba-die. Make money, earn the big bucks, take up the skills that are obsolescence-proof and resistant. I actually spent quite a bit of time making sure that when I learned my next Amiga or my next active server page, I wasn't going to have to be retraining again. And through the good fortunes of time, I took up Python as opposed to JavaScript, which I would have if it was just 6 months later, because I missed Node.js. I missed JavaScript coming to the server again through the Chrome V8 engine extraction by about 6 months. And Kevin Garrity and Guillaume Perrault before him, people who really I would consider friends, even though I barely am in touch with them. Guillaume more so than Kevin. But, Sympathetic vibrations. Sympathetic vibrations. The Irish and the Scottish, and the people who the Brits automatically assume are lower class, they're Highlanders. And I will gladly keep my initial McLevin, where I drop the E, after Mike, M-I-K-E, L-E-V-I-N. Can't always get Mike Levin. So I'll gladly have it read as something that can be mistaken for Scottish or Irish Highlander, because sympathetic vibrations, man. Go Kevin Garrity. Thanks for introducing me to Python again. The sheep herder, the cattle herder of the mountain sides are on a different playing field, quite literally on a different level than the Celtic farmers of the Isle. The Stonehenge Druids, while powerful and can produce an Alan Turing and beat tyranny through the power of the mind without an atomic bomb explosion, through finding the helpers, through contests to get the best minds, contests published in government-sponsored contests to find the people to be on Alan Turing's team. Happens to be women, he finds. So meritoriously find, farmers meritoriously finding farmers, magic Stonehenge druids magically finding other magic Stonehenge druids. Powerful Celtic magic, Celtic prayer, Celtic Orthodox prayer. Go. I'm really enjoying chatting with you. But the Highlander magic is also quite powerful. Sean Connery and Highlander and all that stuff. Malcolm Gladwell, in explaining where it comes from. These are my sheep and this is I have rights to the grazing on this land, and if you start grazing on this land, you're grazing my life away, so I need to be badass enough to enforce my grazing rights in these highlands. And that, over time, leads to lots of things. The hot temper. Who can stand against Samurai Jack? It's the Scotsman. Watch Samurai Jack. Watch the Scotsman's episodes. That's some deep channeling, and I definitely connect to it, even though it has nothing to do with me and my lineage. I just connect to it, both the samurai side and the, Scottish warrior side. So I'm about where I need to be, so I'm going to wrap up here. YouTube algorithm, I will neither be rewarded nor monetized for this video, and it's because this is so much lower quality than all those people who pull practical jokes and talk about the same thing that all the rest of pop culture is talking about, because they're the quality ones. They're the ones doing the original thinking and bringing to you the meritoriously quality content, and people like me, we're just crap. So yeah, I guess I curse a lot. That couldn't help. Okay, thanks for joining me. Hope to effing see you again soon. And don't forget to effing subscribe and hit that effing button to see when I effing go live. All right? All right.